Good morning and welcome to episode 21 of Netherwood TV on Monday 24th of May. I'm Ripley.
And I'm Cullen, and we're both senior prefects.
In today's episode we will be hearing from Mrs Headley for the week's share of story slot.
We will also see what some of our Year 7 and Year 8 students have been doing in their maths lessons.
As well as hearing some general school news and reminders.
Last week we heard from Miss Moffat, who shared the story of Medusa for National Share a Story Month.
This is the last week that we will hear a story from a member of staff, and what better way to finish it off with Miss Headley sharing her story based around myths.
Hello. Good morning everybody, and here is the Netherwood news at 8. No, sorry, I can't resist it. I've sat down, I've just been given some papers, and I've always actually wanted to be a newsreader. So there you go. I'm going to put those down and stop messing now. Right. I have been asked to talk about a famous legend and myth, and I'm going to choose the Trojan horse and the Trojan Wars. So before I talk about the Trojan horse, I'm going to give a little bit of background, and then you'll realise why I quite like this story. Okay. Sparta and Greeks were at war for a good over 10 years, and I'm talking once upon a time, a very, very, very long time ago, about 1184-89 BC, so before Christ, so really, really centuries ago. And Helen of Troy was supposed to be, allegedly, one of the most beautiful women to ever walk the earth. And here she is today, Helen of Troy. So I've had this story told to me ever since I was a little girl, because obviously those who know my name is Helen. And basically the war started because Helen was so beautiful. She was taken by Paris of Troy from the Greek of, Sparta was the Greek king, so taken back to Troy. And she caused a war. So when you've heard the line, and I'm sure you will, I'm going to give it you now, Helen's was the face that launched 1,000 ships. Well, mine was the face, as my father used to tell me, that sunk them, so that's another story, and I'll have a bit of therapy for that one. That line actually comes from, I'll just get another literary reference in, from another great play called Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. And Christopher Marlowe was a contemporary of Shakespeare, so around about the same time. Anyway, I digress, but that's the famous quote. So let me crack on with the story. So basically, the background is the war has started because of the beautiful Helen, responsible for starting a war. There you go. Are we ready? Once upon a time, in an ancient city named Troy, which is actually modern day kind of Turkey, if you can think where that is. It was across the sea, obviously, from Greece. And in those days, people used to build walls around their city to help protect them. In times of war, the gates would be closed and locked to stop intruders from getting into the palace, of course. Now, the walls around Troy were very, very high and very strong. And according to the legend of the Trojan horse, for 10 long years, the Greeks had been trying to get over the wall, trying to get Helen back. Well worth getting, of course. Well, the Trojans couldn't drive the Greeks away. And year after year, they kept fighting and nobody really won. Anyway, one day, a Greek general named Odysseus, or Odysseus, or however you want to say it, there's various different ways, had a tricky idea. Let's pretend to sail away, he said. We'll leave a gift for Troy to announce the end of the war, and a wooden horse with 30 men inside, all hidden. Now, at night, these men were going to sneak out and open the gate of Troy so that the Greek soldiers could pile in. Now, this was the way things were done back then, because they all believed that sometimes gifts were left, okay, when you sort of admitted defeat. And it made sense to leave a gift of art. And the Greeks were famous for their art, you see. Well, the Greeks all thought it was a brilliant idea. They had the best artists build the horse, and it was magnificent. When it was ready, the Greeks brought the wooden horse close to the gates of Troy and pretended to sail away. The Trojan archers at the top of the wall saw the Greeks leaving and couldn't believe their eyes. Were the Greeks giving up at last? It looked like it. The Trojans dragged the horse inside the city and closed the gates. Now, some people wanted to burn the horse, but the Trojan people said no. No, it is far too beautiful. We'll keep it forever as a reminder of our victory. The Greeks counted on that reaction, of course, and the Trojans were famous for bragging. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. That night, while the Trojan people slept soundly, exhausted from their celebrations because they thought they'd got, the victory. The 30 Greek men, hidden in the horse, got out and opened the gates of Troy, allowing the whole Greek army to enter the city of Troy. And that, in fact, was the end of the Trojan War, because the Greeks came in and defeated the Trojans. So there you go. The Trojan horse and a little bit of Helen of Troy thrown in for good measure. I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I do. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
On screen now you can see some more recommendations of books based around myths, magic and mayhem.
We hope you have enjoyed listening to different stories each week shared by our staff throughout National Share a Story Month.
Reading is a great way to unwind and relax after a stressful day, and we would encourage you to pick up a book and lose yourself in the world of fiction.
June is National Pride Month, and as a school we are celebrating in a number of ways.
During form time you should have already created your very own LGBTQ+ flag, which will be displayed around school throughout the month of June.
We are also holding a Pride-themed bake-off competition.
On screen now you will see some details of the competition, and if you would like to know more information, please speak to Miss Amstead.
It's time to head over to Mr. Walker for this week's Thought of the Week.
Good morning, Netherwood. Last week we talked about the importance of treating people how you would like to be treated. So this week we're going to focus on yourself really, and we're going to look at a Australian Aboriginal saying. Now, the Australian Aborigines lived for thousands of years in Australia and were isolated from most civilizations. But what they say is a lot to do with a lot of their proverbs, and a lot of their religion is to do with the world around them. So this one is based on nature, and it is keep your eyes on the sun and you will not see the shadows. So what that means, it doesn't mean look at the sun, because that'll burn your retinas and probably blind you, but it's more metaphorical. So it means if you look towards the positive things, then the negative things don't go away, because shadows don't go away, but will still be there. But your focus should be on the good things and being grateful for what you've got. So Australian Aborigines, keep your eye on the sun and you will not see the shadows. Thank you.
Now on to some fantastic news from our maths department about the Junior Maths Challenge.
The Junior Maths Challenge is a maths competition designed to make students think.
Every year, thousands of Year 7 and Year 8 students across the UK participate, with the top 40% achieving bronze, silver and gold certificates.
This year, 120 Netherwood students took part, and we are proud to announce the results.
The following Year 7 students achieved bronze: Dan J, Ethan B, Brad C, Joel M and Joel M.
The following Year 8 students also achieved the bronze certificate: Louis P, George G, Erin D, Titus K, Ronnie D, Amelia C, Jess H, Erin J, Harry V, Grace W and Alfie S.
The following Year 8 students achieved a silver certificate: Neve S and Ethan S.
A special shout out to Ruby S in Year 8, who achieved a gold certificate and got the best score in school.
Ruby now moves on to the next round and will participate in the Junior Kangaroo Challenge.
Well done to all the students who achieved a certificate. We are extremely proud of you all.
Now on to some general school news and reminders.
This week is a week B, so remember to check your timetable carefully.
That means that we will return after half term on a week A, so make sure you are prepared.
Remember that tennis after school club is up and running on Tuesday for Year 9, Wednesday for Year 8 and Thursday for Year 7. So please come to the changing rooms on the relevant day if you want to get involved.
Thank you for watching Netherwood TV, and we hope you have a restful week off, and we'll see you next half term for the next episode.